Welcome to the raid guide for Asphodelos, the second circle, Savage difficulty. Before the fight starts, divide up into two light parties and make sure to put your markers down on the map. This will be important for future mechanics. Murky Depths is an unavoidable raid-wide AoE. Double Impact is a mega tank buster. This should be soaked by both tanks. Sewage Deluge is a hard-hitting raid-wide AoE that also covers one of the 4 squares in sewage. This square will cause massive damage if it is stepped on. Spoken Cataract will cause the boss to separate its head from its body. This head will point in a direction, as shown by the big red arrow under it, and fire a large rectangle AoE in front of the head. While this is happening, the body will fire a line AoE through itself from front to back. Winged Cataract is similar to Spoken Cataract, however, this head will fire the large rectangle AoE behind itself instead of in front. Coherence will put a tank buster tether on a random party member that a tank needs to intercept. This should be run to the other side of the arena away from the group. After the tank buster goes off, the boss will target another random player with a laser that needs to be soaked. Make sure to stack up to mitigate damage. Ominous Bubbling will put a stack up marker on each healer. Split into your light parties to soak these. This will not go off immediately, but will happen after Shockwave is cast. Shockwave will cause the boss to face a platform and jump onto it once the cast finishes. One of the light parties needs to soak the damage from this landing. When he lands, a knockback will also occur, so pop your knockback mitigation ability. Predatory Avarice will debuff 1 healer, 1 tank, and 1 DPS. The tank and DPS will be debuffed with Mark of the Tides, which will cause an AoE to fire outwards, knocking back those around them. The healer will be debuffed with Mark of the Depths, which causes a water drop AoE to land on them that needs to be soaked by the rest of the group. To handle this mechanic, have the debuffed tank and DPS run away from the group, with the DPS going to the square to the right and the tank running to the square on the left. Channeling Flow will spawn arrow markers on each player. You need to line up so that your arrow is facing towards the middle and pointing to another party member so that you two collide. The farther away from each other you are, the less damage you take, so back up as far as you can. Campio's Harma, aka Limit Cut, will put markers from 1 to 4 over each player's head. 4 of the players will also have a tether to match the marker. Tethers 2 and 4 will stack on the boss, while tethers 1 and 3 stack on the platform opposite of the boss. The tethers position on the far edge of the grate, with the lower number in front and the higher number behind. After the lower number is hit, the players swap positions so that the higher number takes the next hit. The non-tether numbers just go to their respective spots indicated on the platform. Channeling Overflow will again put markers on every player, but this time the arrows will go off after either 13 seconds or 27 seconds depending on your debuff. The shorter debuff players need to line up for their collisions immediately, while the players with the longer debuffs spread out. The longer debuff players will be given personal AoEs, so watch your spacing and stay on the edges away from the arrow players. After the arrows shoot and collide, the long debuff players get into position, while everyone else spreads out for their own personal AoE. After the second flow, Predatory Avarice will be cast again. This time it will be coupled with Disassociation and either Winged or Spoken Cataract. Like in normal, Disassociation causes the boss to separate its head from its body and move to a corner. In this case, the DPS will run to the opposite corner of the arena, while the tank runs to the far middle. The healer and remaining players will position on a grate to soak the teardrop damage. After a Disassociation cast, the boss can cast Sewage Eruption. This will cast 3 AoEs around each player in succession. Stay grouped up, then after the 3 casts, spread out to deal with personal AoEs. The second Channeling Overflow is similar to the first, however this time there won't be personal AoEs. Instead there will be a Coherence. Players that have the short debuff line up immediately for collision, while players with the long debuff can stack up in the far corner of the square to avoid the collision damage. After the first players collide, the tank buster will explode, followed by the laser. Make sure to stack up for the laser, then get out of the way for the incoming second collision. Finally, if you don't kill the boss fast enough, he will cast Sewage Deluge and kill the entire party. From here on out, things will repeat. Do the things, kill the boss, and get the loot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.